What's up, healers? My name is Cam, and welcome back to Unpacking Within. That feels so good to say out loud. I feel like it's been so long since I've actually produced a podcast episode. And I kind of just want to come on here and be a little bit transparent and honest with what's been going on. So I think it's been at least a good 3-4 months, if not longer, of me producing an episode. And I think I got so overwhelmed with school and finishing school and so many other things, just living life and making new friends and spending intentional time with my family, my husband, my in-laws. The holidays were around. So much was happening. And there are some times where I'm like, bitch, live and don't just get so caught up in the hype of always accomplishing, if that makes sense. So I am sitting here grateful that I got the chance to, again, just live and to put the hustle and the production and the hustle and bustle just behind and not allow that to control and dictate how I show up. One thing that I struggle with is probably consistency, especially consistency in things that are not maybe like a quick reward. And life doesn't work out like that. I know one thing that I did learn is that good things come to those that wait. And I feel like I've waited long enough to, one, be consistent with what I've talked to y'all about, healing and showing up for myself. And it's been more than enough time for me to come back and hold myself accountable. I feel like one thing that touched my mindset was me turning 30. I turned 30 in November. Shout out to the 30 and Up Club. I ain't gonna say dirty 30 because I'm a very clean girl. No, yeah, so I feel like that's been the most exciting. I feel like one thing that I've learned since being 30 is that no one is coming to save your ass. Someone's coming to save me, no one's coming to save you. And I feel like if you really want something, then you put your mind to it and you make that shit happen by any means necessary. Like, here I am, I think it's like 12:45 a.m. And I told myself, record a podcast episode before you go to sleep. Because this is something that I am passionate about. Like, I've been passionate about healing for a long time now. And I know the works and I know the reward behind healing. And I feel like it's only right to share it with the world. And I also enjoy just connecting with people, whether it be on different levels, on a personal level, on a spiritual level. I love learning about people, learning how they show up, learning how I can show up a little bit better, encouraging people to do so. So yeah, that's what I'll start with. I'll just maybe touch on some of the truths behind, the break. Again, I did tell you all that I was in school. I think school became very like hands-on, and it was paper after paper after paper. I'm here to say I am finished with school. I officially have my bachelor's degree, but I will be walking the stage next June in Arizona. So shout out to me for that consistency. I think I just started to get like a little bit burned out and trying to find work plus doing the podcast and not really feeling motivated enough in myself. Like, I'm like, yes, the podcast is something that I enjoy, but I've also worked since I was 16 years old. So it felt so abnormal to try to focus on something when I felt like a priority in my life wasn't being met. And I had never been in the space of being laid off and not really knowing when the next time I would get a job would be. But I also don't believe I shared this with y'all. I did start work, so I'm so happy about that. I feel blessed. I feel watched over. I feel looked out. I feel so honored to have the person in my life that I do. So shout out to him. And again, just good things come to those that wait. And I feel like I'm in the right place where I'm supposed to be. And I'm not going to allow anything to let me think differently. As you all know, like, I'm still in the building stage of this podcast. And I think one of the best things that I can do is just continue to do it however it looks. Yes, the quality can be good, but the content is good. Like, all I need is a mic. All I need is a mic and a camera. Shout out to my friend. Again, as you all know, I turned 30. And my friend, who's been newly my friend this year, who I love so dearly, got me this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful gift that I'm using right now. So if this looks like better camera quality, it is. Yeah, it is. I won't give the name just yet, just because I am not being sponsored by them. It is something that I feel like will make the podcast a little bit better for me, because I've been so gung-ho on like equipment, microphones, and this and that. And sometimes the only thing you need is a ring light, whatever the case may be, a microphone, and just you and your voice and a camera, and just hit fucking record and just keep going. So that's where I want to continue in the space of this podcast, is being consistent with keeping going and not allowing just the background noise in my mind to get in the way of what I actually want to accomplish. I do believe in myself. I believe in this podcast. And I believe that anything is possible so long as you have consistency and you have hard work into the shit. Like, you are bound to be successful if you put enough time and you put enough effort and energy into a craft, into doing something and learning something. And I'm learning me. I'm learning how to do a podcast. I'm learning how to extract topics and extract conversations with people, again, that I just connect with on an everyday basis. So I'm still in learning phases. So I'm gonna give myself some grace. I know what I have is good. And I don't say that to be cocky, but I say that to say, I know who I am because I know who I am. What Nikki said, she was like, I am who I am because I am who I am. Take it or fucking leave it. Something happens when you turn 30, or like you have these birthday moments. And it's funny because someone that I had knew, that I still know, was talking about it too, and I don't know if everybody's like this, but I feel like there is something that happens in us where we get a little bit more emotional, that we're turning older, you're wiser. So much has happened since the last year that you turned a year older, et cetera, et cetera. Like, the list just goes on. And I know for me, it was more about like revealing things that I didn't necessarily see for what it was, but now I do. And one of those things, again, is I just go back to, no one's gonna save you. I say that with grace, I say that with compassion, but I also say that with like scarcity. No one's gonna save you. No one's gonna save me. Not my family, not a fucking will. Go after my dreams as well as continue creating the life that I want for myself. So I feel compelled to even be stretching myself and push myself to do more than what I have been doing, and leaning onto y'all to really just hold me accountable. So I'll leave that there. But also, like, I think that there's an adult lesson that no one really teaches you about. And it's just that you have to be willing to bet on yourself. You have to be willing to wake up and do it consistently when it hurts, when you're tired, when you're angry, when you're upset, because the end goal is still the end goal. And sometimes for me, I feel like I've had a repetition of thinking the end goal will just somehow magically appear. That is so far from it. And I don't think I've been able to say those words out loud to myself, or even just to people that I fuck with. And I also want to start by being a little bit more real and raw and true with my show, whether that be with my guests or some of the topics that I'm planning to cover. Like, even this is a little bit of a stretch for me because I don't normally just give y'all this. I have like some points that I want to cover, but I remember at the beginning of my podcast, like, it was so scripted. It was so scripted where like I was literally writing out every single word. What I didn't know was other people were doing the same thing. And there's something so beautiful just about, yes, you can have some structure, but at the same time, be yourself. So I want to show up by being myself because there ain't no other bitch on this planet like me. And I don't say that to be braggadocious or nothing like that, but I also do say that because, again, I am who I am and I love who I am. I want people that watch this podcast who love who they are to show up for themselves and to show up for other people and show up in the way they see themselves in the world and not what they, feel like other people may think of them, or want people to like them. I think I was watching like Selling Manhattan or something like that. It was a new show recently. And the guy was like, all his life, or for a majority part of his life, he wanted people to like him. And that's such a goal. I feel like it was such a goal for me at one point in my life. And I don't give a flying fuck. I want to say it was like a few weeks before my birthday. And I started not to give a fuck. I think something had came up. And I'm such a deep thinker. I feel like I'm such a deep thinker, and I think about things differently. Girl, we all think about things differently. Again, this is one of those moments where it's going to be up to me to lean into it and to just stretch myself in ways that I'm not really experienced in. And I will just say, you know, I feel like sometimes people don't really talk about the hurt behind healing. There's lessons that I've even found, like even with friendships, that where you're like, no matter what you do, sometimes it's just never enough. And I don't say that to be shady, but that is so true. Like, it seems as if when I was going through that, it was like, I never would have put something past somebody. But at the same time, it was like, you kind of do, because everybody's living their own life in their own kind of way. And I don't put it past people. And maybe that was another big opportunity. Like, stop putting shit past people. Like, people are going to do what they want to do, how they want to do it, when they want to do it. And there's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing I can do about how people show up in the world. I can say my piece, but at the same time, it is so important for me to remain solid and remain true in who I am, because that's just who I am. And I don't ever want to change that. Do I think that, different relationships cause for different reactions and different responses? Absolutely. Do I treat all of my friendships the same? I try to, at least with like integrity, just because I feel like a lot of my friends have turned into family. I don't know about y'all, but there have been people in my life that have been here since middle school and elementary. Like, those are not things that I take for granted. Like, I allow certain people in my life to witness this life that I'm living, and I don't take just that piece for granted, if you will. Like, I have respect for my friends. I don't just say I have friends because I have friends, or I want to have a high number of friends. No, girl, give me a good solid 4 or 5 friends and I'm good. I'm Gucci, because there's so many of us that have a bunch of noise in our ear and have, oh, this is my friend, this is my friend. Girl, as your mom said, you can count on one hand how many friends you got, maybe even on two, how many real friends you have. And I feel like a good friend is one of those to where sometimes you don't have to require much. I know for me and my friendships, I am such a low maintenance friend, and I can talk to you this year, I can talk to you next year and be perfectly fine with a break, and knowing that there's grace that I can share and that we can express between the both of us that allows us to show up for one another. And one example that I'll use is I recently came across this situation with this person that I had met online. It was me and 2 other people, him being one of them. And something came up with his birthday. And I think what like shocked me the most was maybe the way that he decided to address it. And I'll try to be very brief and very like just to the point with it, but I won't say that my feelings were not kind of hurt or that I wasn't upset, because I kind of was. Never did I think that the person that had me experience the emotions that I did like would make that happen. But again, you can't put shit past nobody. There's some things that are inevitable, and I'm fine with just that. But I guess long story short, or maybe short story long, y'all tell me if y'all want like longer, more like drawn out, because we can do that. But just for sake of time and me just wanting to get on here and record and just publish something, what this podcast episode want, or what I wanted this podcast episode to feel like. And I didn't want it to feel like drama, or I just wanted to feel like realization and stepping into who I know that I am. And again, holding myself accountable for consistency and showing up for myself in a way that I know that I can show up for myself. But again, long story short, I was not able to go to this person's birthday dinner. The birthday dinner was, downtown at a nice restaurant. And there were some things going on. As you all know, I've been laid off since January. And I finally got a job in October. The birthday was in August, September, if I'm not mistaken. And me and the 2 other guys, they share near almost the same birthdays. My birthday is in November. And the person had, or let me take a step back. My husband follows the person's partner on Instagram, And my husband's like, "Did you know it's such and such birthday?" I was like, "No, I didn't. Let me go text him." And I guess the person that I'm friends with took it upon themselves to acknowledge, my partner says thanks for the birthday, for the birthday wish. It's just being very vague. And again, I get it. Like, we all kind of go through different things, and we all are experiencing different things in our lives, understandably so. Again, grace. I'm not the first person where I'm like, I'm trying to turn up on you because I don't understand one thing. And I think the initial reach out, which was initially started by me, but I feel like the initial response to maybe just me being congratulatory or, celebratory for the person and their life and turning another age older, was like, I didn't hear a text or a social media post or anything like that for my birthday. Like, what was that about? Keep in mind, I had noticed that the birthday, like, I want to say 57, 56 days had gone by, mind you. So not only that, but you take an opportunity to take, again, a celebratory moment or a moment that was just light and love and try to address something. And I guess it's like, I've also learned, and I feel like I have certain people to thank for this, but I've also learned there's a time and a place for everything. When I say everything, everything. From the way that you address people, from the way that you bring up situations that maybe you want to be heard about, like, there is a time and a place for everything. And if I've been learning one thing, it's about communication. Like, when I was laid off, I know that one of the biggest things that I had learned was communication, overall art of communication, and when's the proper time to push, when is not the proper time to push, and how I could be perceived to other people that I may work with. Like, everybody isn't like me, and I respect that, and 100% I get it. I always try to understand both sides of the story, which I did respectfully communicate that to the person. I was like, look, I understand both sides of the story. And I even respected that you even, decided to address it, because you could have just went completely silent and not said anything whatsoever. And then I just really would have been great. But I ended up talking to the person that night, because I was like, he responded in text with like, I didn't hear from you. What was that about? And that's how I read it, because it was very vague. Again, I had came off like very celebratory, and it was just met with that. And I ended up calling the person, and I guess they were in the airport. And it was just, I was like breathing. I was like, it's okay. It's okay to have this conversation, because you respected that person as a friend in your life. So I feel like y'all can both have respectable conversations about, what may be bothering you or what may be on your mind. And I think that's another thing. I feel like as healers, it's so responsible of us to have hard conversations. And though the conversation was hard, and what I prayed for is like, I was like, God, just help me navigate it. Help me navigate it in a way where it's not gonna come off disrespectful. But I was a little angry, because I was like, I don't give that energy to you. And I didn't expect it from you. But again, don't put shit past nobody. Nobody. Yeah, so I'll say that. And then just fast forward, like, I had told the person, I was like, look, I said, I'll take the front seat approach. I said, let's just go out for coffee or tea or something, and let's just catch up. Like, I was like, I didn't intentionally try to miss your birthday. That's what it was. The person was like upset that I missed their birthday. And I had explained, I was like, I feel like there was some hidden expectation on my part that I didn't know that you wanted to be celebrated in some kind of way. And if I had known that, then I would have shown up differently. So I say, like, for me, if you want somebody to do something for you, open up your damn mouth, and don't expect people to just be the same. Like, again, we had just met last year, and the most that our relationship was going out to eat and maybe just catching up. Oh, like, what's new in your life? Like, and we had connected over mental health at first. And I think it more so started to be about, well, like, let's, that's fine that we want to, share that space, that common space with each other. But like, let's also try to intentionally get to know one another. Nevertheless, um, we ended up talking that day, and I just said, you know what, I'll schedule some time for us to just connect and just chop it up. So I was telling myself, I'm like, okay, well, I feel like this happened in October or September. I can't really remember. But my birthday was also in November, and I was like, I really don't have time. Like, I'm planning my birthday. I got a lot of stuff coming up. My life is full. My life is full with my family. My life is full with my friendships. I don't have time to just spew energy about just something and something that I didn't really understand or didn't really know. But I feel like I also have enough respect for people. If I have an issue with you, I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna come to you because it's only the right thing to do. I can't stand when someone is like, I got an issue with you, but they dance in circles around you. You have an issue with me, but you talking to everybody else about me. And I never respect that. And I won't stand for that because I feel like a real man will address you in a manner that is respectful, that's honorable, that won't, it's not like you got to tolerate disrespect or tolerate somebody coming at you sideways. I'm not saying that by the least. What I am saying is, if you are a man, put your big boy pants on and have a hard conversation if that's what you need. If that's what you genuinely want and you don't really know how to do it scared. The same way that we all do stuff scared, do it scared. If you respect that friendship enough, if you value that relationship enough, do it scared because you won't have the answer. Nevertheless, I never had the time to really get around to it. And then December came and I was like, there's the holidays. Like, I really don't even care to even like address it. I was like, okay, we'll get through this month, get through your birthday month and then do it. And then December came and we're still here. But long story short, I ended up seeing the person at a bar last night. And I seen him with the people that he's typically with. And I was my normal self. I was like, hey, I was like, I haven't seen you in so long. I was like, you got 5 minutes to talk? And he was like, yeah. Like, well, at first, let me back up. Let me back up. At first, like, I think I kind of like had crossed them and like, you know, when you see somebody, you know, like you kind of lock eyes and you're like, oh, hey, like initially, like there's no bad blood between us. At least that was on my part. But I think the initial thing was for him to try to like ignore or try to put as if it wasn't bothering him. I don't fucking know. But it ended up being like I don't really see you, but I see you. And I was like, okay. I'm like, so I went to the bar. I was ordering a drink. And I was talking to my friend and I was like, I feel like this is the right opportunity. Like, it's not like it's a heavy conversation. It's not gonna be heavy for me. I just wanted to hear how he felt. And I had just arrived and they were one of the first people that I had saw. And I was like, damn, look at the universe giving us this opportunity. And I made sure that it was fine. I was like, you got 5 minutes to talk. And he had every opportunity to be like, no, not right now. It's not the right time. But long story short, we ended up having a conversation. The conversation ended up being about 15 minutes. But I got understanding, he got understanding. And it was just so crazy because like he also had opened up to me about the other person in the group. And he was like, yeah, I'm good on him. Like, I don't have anything to say. He was like, there's no coming back from that. And he shared a story with me about why he feels the way about someone else, the other person that we know mutually. And I understood it, but I also don't understand it. But I also know like there's always two sides to every story. So I'm not, I'm not discounting how he feels. I was just like, girl, this is the common thing. And I feel like one of the things that he had expressed was like, I had talked to my village about it and, I had just came kind of to the conclusion. He did his whole spiel, whatever, which I understood. And I asked him, I was like, do you ever feel like it's right to give the person mutual respect to address them and not say like, oh, you talk to everybody but them? I'm like, how do you get answers that way? Because to me, it's like, oh, you talk to your village. Your village is not that person. Your village is not going to give you the answer that you are likely looking for. And I don't know your village to know them. I know you a little bit, but your village ain't me, babe. And if you want to have a conversation with me, have a conversation with me. I also shared, I was like, I don't think I shared this, but hopefully I did. But if you see this, I hope you know, again, there's no bad blood between us, which I did express that to you. And, you know, I wish you the best, and I'm sure I'll see you around. I just feel like next time, if you are having an issue with somebody, don't allow 60 days to go by. I understand. I was like, I didn't know that's what you were feeling. And I didn't know, I felt like the first opportunity you got to throw me to the side, you did. And again, I felt like I had enough respect for you to not put that on you per se, or to not treat you in that way. But you know, they were like, well, you know, Dallas people are different and this and that. And I was like, okay, like, cool. Put me in the box of everyone else. But I guess ain't none of us special, and we don't put nothing past nobody. But that's neither here nor there. I feel like in all of that, I was able to learn, again, just how to continue having hard conversations, but also like, just continue believing in myself and know that everybody's not going to act the way that I do. Everybody's not going to respond in the way that I do. I respect people's opinions, and I respect the way that, you know, they care to show up in the world, but I also don't have to always agree with it. Like, I can disagree with it and be perfectly fine, because I feel like I have a moral compass in my friendships, and I don't try to manipulate, or I don't try to disregard my friendships, especially if I fuck with you. Like, if I fuck with you, I fuck with you, and I fuck with you tough. And I'm loyal I'm loyal to my friends. At least I try to be. And I expect the same. And I feel like if you are not there with me, then you're just not there with me. I'm not gonna try to force it. There was something on Twitter where this girl was like, if God is trying to remove somebody from your life, like, that's just him. Let him do his work. And I think after the conversation that we had last night, I was like, again, there's no bad blood. Like, I don't dislike you. I also had found out, he was like, what did he say? He was like, so I do want to be honest and transparent with you. Like, I did remove you from social. And I was like, let me clarify. Like, you removed me from social, like, you stopped unfollowing, or you stopped following me, and did you make me unfollow you? Because I think that's a new feature on Instagram. And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Understandably so. I've had other people do that. I feel like I've had a few other people do that. I don't know what it is, but they always come back. Yeah, they always come back. Neither here nor there. I feel like, again, if I would say one thing that God is nudging me on is, I will continue to have these little things, but I can't allow it to consume so much of me, just because he gives us a full day to just go after things that we want and to continue creating the life that we want for ourselves. So it's up to us to make that dream a reality. And I am committed to doing just that. And I'm committed to remaining true to who I am. And if you don't fit that picture, then you just don't fit the picture. I'm not going to force you to stay into my life. Or I'm not going to force you to understand where I come from. I did leave the conversation knowing where we stand as people that just know each other. And I'm like, girl, okay. All right, no sleep loss, no love loss. Like, it is what it is. If I see you, then I'm sure we'll speak. May even do a church hug with a pat, but no love lost, girl. I wish you well, and I hope, you know, you get everything that you want out of this life, because I know I'm going after mine, and only time will tell. So, yeah. My vision moving forward with this podcast is, again, to just become more consistent and become a little bit more raw and real with things that I got going on in my life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And being a little bit less scripted. Again, like, this was one of my first podcast episodes where I feel like I am not reading, I'm not trying to remember lines that I have for myself, or like touch points that I want to touch on, or like necessarily talk about. So yeah, this may be unedited and more raw and real, but I feel like I prefer this format, and I'm gonna try to do my best to make it, you know, make the quality look good and make it feel right. But this is my gift to myself. Do I think it will help people? I can only hope. On the other side, continue to support me in my journey in building this podcast, and knowing that consistency is hard, but it'll become more easier the more that I can do it, the more I remain consistent. and the more I believe in myself. There's been moments where I haven't believed in myself, where I feel like I get creativity blocked. And I feel like that's when my life feels so full to where I feel like I need to take a step back and realize what I want for myself as well. So yeah, that's what I'll kind of leave off by saying, but also just thank y'all. Thank y'all that y'all have never left my side in my vision and my podcast. And I feel like y'all consistently show up for me in ways that I really appreciate and I don't take it for granted. And I just thank you. I invite you to share this podcast with your friends, share this episode with your friends, and please just tell me maybe what you want to hear more about from me in the comments. Or you can message me, whatever. Follow me on Instagram at I am Cam Dunn. That's IAMKAMDUNN. I hope that you get as much out of this podcast as I'm looking to get from this podcast. And I say that to say I started this podcast by sharing my healing journey, continuing to share my healing journey with the world. And I try to cover global topics. And I feel like friendships and things inside of friendships are normal fucking things for us to go through. And it's normal things for us to navigate. And I feel like we all go through very similar things, just in different ways. So I just wanted to share that, and I wanted to be sure that I was real and just raw, and I wasn't trying to sugarcoat my language or my filter. Like, I was like, bitch, strip down. That's how I put on very basic tee from fucking Walmart. I forgot where I got this flannel from, but I put on this microphone and I'm like, this is what it's about. Like, have the conversation. I'm just gonna continue to show up for myself, and I want to encourage you to do the same. There's so much light and so much world that I think we all want to live and that we all want to experience. And again, it's up to us to continue building the world that we want, and continuing just to be graceful, patient, and kind with yourself. This is the first this is the first chance you've ever had at living this life that you're living. So I also say that with dignity and respect and compassion, because this shit ain't easy, and it's easier said than done. But I believe in you, I believe in myself, I believe in us, and I believe in the bigger vision that I have for myself. I'm gonna continue to choose myself again and again and again. So yes, thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much for your time. I know this podcast episode was very brief, but I hope that you take one thing from this, and it's that believing in yourself is not as easy as it seems. And just those words are hard. It's hard to get up and just believe in yourself sometimes, especially when you feel maybe just imbalanced. But I encourage you to do so, because the reward is so much more greater than not believing in yourself. And I don't want to live a life of regret. There's been so many things that I've seen about people just living life in regret. And I want to live a life where I'm like, bitch, I've already lived, and I want to continue to live, but there's so much more life to this life than what I've lived so far. So we gonna unpack what life I have lived a little bit more, and I am going to consistently work at a new episode every single week. I know that the direction that I want to take my podcast is going to be a good thing for me, for this brand, for what I want to go after. And I'm just really, really excited to share with you. So stay tuned. If you took anything from this episode today, I hope you take grace. And grace in your relationships, grace to know that we all are trying to experience and go through life. And we all have silent battles that we don't know much about. Give people grace, give people compassion and understanding, to not just want to disregard somebody or just kick them to the curb just because maybe you were inconvenienced. I also hope that you get enough courage to give that other person or the people on the other side enough respect to address it if something is happening. Address it in a way that's respectful and that's mannerable and that won't cause too much friction. I will talk to y'all next week. Thank you again for your love and for your support. Comment, rate, subscribe, and we in this thing, y'all. And I feel like this is this is the best time to be doing what the hell I'm doing because I believe in me and I believe in this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.